So I've recently made some pictures about Noah's animals and kind of describing the different types of animals. I guess in the Noah's story, there's like animals versus humans. I guess the humans are like the people who are awake and know that God is actually here, and have been following me for a long time, hence have now hopefully wisened up to the different sides of the religions. But yeah, the animals are basically the people who still don't know at this point. And when they're saying there's two types, it means that there's kind of like a good type and a bad type. Now, sometimes people are kind of both, or sometimes they're like more one than others. I know with some of the singers, some of their songs seem to represent, like Britney Spears' songs seem to mostly represent sick wishes. Um, but there are one or two songs where they're kind of positive wishes. I think I think somewhere there's some positive wishes in there, but I don't know. Some that have like two names. Some focus more on one than the other, and yeah, and I think the same can be said with like these lists that I've got. You can have some that only focus on the positive or only focus on the negative. Of course, there's loads of different types of animals. Like when you get reincarnated, you come back as loads of different animals, and you kind of work your way up the sort of food chain, I guess. But you might find that you have like maybe 10 lives as a dog, and then like 2 lives as a bird, or 3 lives, and I feel like a person's character and a person's sort of dynamics, I guess, really can depend on which animals you've been and the types of lives you've had, how long you've lived for, and how many of certain animals. I think if you've been a specific animal a lot more than others, you might have more character traits than some others. So this is how like the soul building of a character happens, and I feel like this is how my higher self can kind of work out what kind of people someone's going to turn into, because you look at their past lives as an animal and you try and work out what they've done. I don't believe she knew anything about the dinosaurs before. I believe when she came, that was the point, the furthest point she couldn't go any further back. She didn't know the history of it, and so you have to kill the dinosaurs and then kind of create new animals through evolution, from whatever grows, and then there's like a memory. I don't know how it works, but there's some sort of memory system that kind of records which souls have had which lives, and you can kind of work out what a person's going to be like based on what kind of animal they were, and I feel like this is why a lot of people might feel like they're a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It'd be cool if there were some sort of test to work out like how much of a cat person are you, like not a cat person in liking cats, but how much of an actual cat. Like cats are quite independent, and they see themselves as being better than their owners and stuff. So but I just want to talk about it. So the cat people are like that. I think independent is good, but yeah, they can be um, thinking that they're better than their owners, thinking that they own the house. They might, if there's religions about God versus man, they might confuse God with man. So if it's like God being like just the average human, and me and God. No, if it's yeah, God being an average human like Israel or something, um, and the people being seen as God, like the average person representing God, then they're more likely people to be. That's how because they see some things wrong. Dog people are called cool, chilled out. I think they mostly just want to lay back, not lazy, but they want to work with humans, work with people, develop. But I think the downside of dogs is that they do have a high sex drive, so they're humans with high sex drives, but also kind of chilled out when it comes to general life. Oh, I've written mouse people twice. I put that on the new one. Anyway, mouse people are quiet and keep to small circles. And big bird people, I think, are high achievers, dreamers. Big birds can travel long distances. The bigger it is, the further it can fly. Smaller birds tend to stay close by. They are more passive people and stuff. Um, and duck people, you can sometimes hear them just go whack, 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 whack in the pool. They might think that they've got a lot of interesting things to say and stuff, and they might have lots of things to say, but is it really intelligent? I don't know. Some people that aren't very bright might listen to duck people talk and be like, oh, that's interesting, I don't know. duck people kind of reminds me of my mum, just someone who chats, and then you actually think about what she's saying, and it's like, is this really actually intelligent? Do I really need to know this? And not really. But that's what ducks do. They kind of just hang around the pool and just gibble. And then you got sheep people. I guess that's obvious as Christians, people who like to have a sort of leader figure that they see as being better than others, and they'll just follow that person. And that they're scared of dogs that might attack them, but they stay in groups to try and they feel stronger in groups. Cow people are just wanting to go with the flow, a bit more chilled back. I guess Muhammad, I can link it to. Um, they have their view on what's good and what's bad, um, and that's how they see things. Goat people, I think, are more like Satans and atheists, but not people who actually are religious, but rather people see it as like a myth. They're kind of more fun people. They just want to I guess similar to sheep, only they don't want to follow something, and they are more willing to take chances. Sheep people will be like, "Oh, don't go on that cliff; it's dangerous." Whereas the goat people will be like, "You know what? That looks like a challenge. That looks a bit fun." So they're a bit more willing to experiment and branch out, and they have probably a little bit more talent as well, because goats are more talented than sheep. Um, and and they have a bit more energy. Pigs are actually quite smart, but yeah, the downside is they do just eat anything, and I think there's a lot of people that would take in any information. Oh, try this and that and this, and especially when it comes to religion, they can be like, want to try this and this and this, but are they like really learning something, or are they just sort of taking it in and just being like, oh well, there's loads of options, so I don't really know. I think the downside of pigs is that they live in dirty conditions, and dirty mess. So a pig person can probably live in, even though their house might be nice, they can their life and then lots of stuff can be bad around them or in the town that they're in or whatever, and then they don't see mess as mess. They see mess as good as they wouldn't see it as mess. That's how I say it. Dolphin people, I guess, are more mysterious, and like to keep secrets, or like to keep in small groups, a bit more quiet, wanting to wait. And I like playing games, playing with balls. But yeah, I think I'm more of a dolphin person. But I think the downside of a dolphin person is that they have a need to want to explore the waters, and waters kind of can symbolize like slight death wish, or wanting to go elsewhere and not really be on Earth, but rather be in the sea, which could be like in space, somewhere else in space. But yes, and shark people are, I guess, a bit more happy to attack others. Hence, they're a bit more depressive because they see more negative sides, and they're more, I guess, angry and wanting to attack. Um, and But yes, they might also have a death wish too, but they'd have a death wish because, oh, this world is crap, I don't want to be here. And then if they are given opportunities to attack others, they would take up that opportunity. What? Yeah, God's here. She wants to kill lots of people through lying to them about the rapture. Yeah, yeah. I think they'll love that. Bats are nocturnal, but bat people, I think, are people that like to either work late to have night shifts and stuff, or they could be people that just like to hide behind the internet. It's maybe sleep during the day and then just spend all night on the internet trolling people, and then that can be a bad habit of a bat person, because they kind of like to do things in secret, kind of hide. All these profiles where you have like a profile picture, but you don't actually see who the person is. It's just they've just put some random Google picture on there. So it's kind of like they're hiding. And bats like to hide in the dark or in trees or in rocks and stuff. So likewise, bat people kind of like to have a profile that you can't really tell anything about you. Hence, they can say whatever they want and feel they get away with it. Fox people, are cunning, sly. They can be a bit noisy. They do like sex, but because I hear these horrible screeching sounds with foxes. But I think the Fox TV, like TV people, that can be the sort of it can be a side of foxes. There's a lot of chickens that get scared of things. Chicken people are kind of people that get scared of things very easy. They do lay eggs, So you can get ideas from them, oh, Satan, Satan, Satan. And then you think, that's a good idea. I want to marry Satan just to scare the chickens. I think that the chicken people are good in that sense because people like making horror films to scare people. So if you find out what the chicken people are scared of, you can make a film and maybe they'll like it. The problem is with chicken people is they might tend to believe that everything's satanic and devilish, and they might not watch it. So you're not. It's not really the chicken people that actually watch the horror films. It's more many of the other animals. But if the chicken people are making Illuminati conspiracy theorists against certain things, well, it brings up ideas like eggs, brings up ideas for films and stuff that filmmakers can use to be like a fox and just scare the chickens. But anyway, snake people are, I guess, sly and liars and um, deceivers, but also quite smart. But also they like to hide. Um, if you get bitten by a snake, it will come out of nowhere. You won't see it, and it would be wait, like that. So, but yeah, um, I think snake people, if they're going to kill someone, they'd rather do it from a long distance with a gun, um, rather than a like you won't see it coming. Basically, like if your bear hits you, you kind of know it because it's in your face. Whereas if a snake gets you, you might not even know it because it would happen so fast that you're like, "Ow, what was that?" And then you look and you look to where you see, "Oh, look, that looks like a snake bite," and then you might see the snake afterwards or something. So they hide more. Um, Monkey people, well, you have the monkeying around phase, so they're like wanting to play, yes, playful, but and I guess kind of like humans, but also like unevolved humans. Um, so more animal-like humans, but also kind of more caveman humans. And yeah, the downside of the monkey people are that they can have caveman traits and um, and laugh at things that aren't funny. They could throw a rock at you and laugh at you because, or throw a phone. Modern day time, they'll throw a phone at you and kind of think that it's funny because they're just monkeying around and being stupid. But wolf people are definitely deceivers. They are people that would love the idea of killing Christians, and there'd be people who would be willing to pretend to be a Christian so that they can attack them. So that's the difference between fox people and the foxes that go after the chickens, but they kind of almost get fun out of making the things to scare the chickens. Oh look, this chicken's all scared. That's funny. Whereas the wolf people are a bit more clever, but a bit more darker with their attack on the sheep because they see them more as like a threat. We need to get rid of these sheep. Whereas when foxes get rid of chickens, I feel like they actually take a bit more enjoyment from it. I don't think wolves actually enjoy killing sheep. I think a wolf would kill a sheep just because it's um, I don't know. I don't know why a wolf is hungry. I guess is the real answer. But anyway, um, bear people are, yeah, they can be loyal, but bears are quite loyal. But I also think of Pooh Bear and him, like, I don't know, going inside a tree, eating too much honey, and then getting stuck and can't come out. So I feel like bears also have they're smart, but they're not. They're not smart. They can be smart, but sometimes they don't think, and they can be very dangerous if they know what they want. If they know they want something as a prey, they will climb trees. They will attack very harshly. But yes, there have to be people you watch out for um, if they think you're an enemy. Um, and bull people, I guess they only really attack people. They only attack others if they feel threatened by them. Um, and when they do attack, they can be a bit. But I think they also can jump to conclusions. If someone insults them, they might take it really, really harshly, and then afterwards it might be like, oh, I didn't mean that as an insult. I just meant it in a different way, and they might have just jumped to a conclusion and assumed it was worse than it was meant to be. So that's a bull person. I think Rihanna has a tendency to be a bull person, but I say that just as her negative side. Um, I do think actually her positive side would be an elephant, actually, someone who's not afraid to get too big, and was been perfect for a pop star. Not big as in size wise, but big as in fame. But anyway, tiger people. I always think of Tigger, bouncy bounce, full of energy, black and white, so knows the difference between right and wrong. It's probably the best one to be, I think. Lion people are good, um, but I feel like there's a lot of planning. Lions, like, they think a lot more. Like when you see them just sitting down, sometimes they look lazy. Like the males sometimes look lazy, but yeah, the females, I feel like they're thinking a lot. Whereas with the tiger, I kind of feel like maybe they think, but they also are kind of more energetic and more bouncy. Whereas lions are more strategists. So that is how I would describe these ones. I don't know if I should do another part video to it. Um, got the negatives on this page, but I'm not going to. I've already kind of said the negatives. Um, and they got fish people. I don't know, if someone said that, if you ask them out of all these animals what they most like, and if they say a fish, I don't think they know what they're talking about, because fish are very, very different. My guppies are very different to my orange ones, and my orange ones are different to the neons, and then you've got big fish, small fish. I don't know, and I think also they're not very smart. But yeah, if anyone would say that they think they're most similar to a fish, I think that's code for they don't know what they actually are like, because or maybe they're very changeable or something. Because yeah, saying that you're like a fish is saying you're like a human, because all humans are very different, and likewise all fish breeds act quite differently. And but anyway, tortoise, yeah, probably a bit slow, but yeah, if they get turned upside down, they can't turn themselves over without help. And I feel like there are some people that get inverted, and you can't invert them without actually telling them. So I guess a Muslim can be one of these people, but I also think my sister's one of these people. Um, they'll see things fine, and then sometimes they might go through a mental breakdown and they'll see things upside down, and you kind of need to correct them, but it's not that easy because they don't know that they're upside down, and I don't know. Anyway, seal people are people that are easy to manipulate. Don't know if I actually put it that way. I put a big long description. If you want people to go from land, no, if you want people to go from earth to heaven, you just need to tell them that the devil's on heaven or on hell, and come up with some sort of excuse, and they'll go running to, oh, I want to go to heaven. But if you tell them that actually the afterlife is something, you might become an animal in your afterlife, then they're going to be doing whatever they can to stay alive. But they are gullible, and they will run from fear very easily. Or if they're afraid of something, you can easily push them away. If they see if they see something as a threat, they'll easily run away from it, and into the sea or the land, depending on where they thought the threat was. Rabbit people, okay, they're cute, and but yeah, cute, fun, and they want to just have sex basically, and have kids, and have lots of kids, not just one or two. Just basically pop one out every year. That's kind of a rabbit person's goal. Not necessarily, not always. Sometimes though, because I guess male rabbits don't necessarily aim to have kids, and in fact, sometimes female rabbits might not actually aim to have kids, but they're not very. They don't use condoms, rabbits. So some people who have lots of kids might not actually want loads of kids. They just don't use condoms. But anyway, giraffe people are people who are tall and can see everything, but they actually understand nothing. You know how a giraffe, they're high, they have a lot of big view and stuff, but what are they actually thinking? Do they actually understand? Like if they see something running from a cheetah or something small, do they actually feel? Do they realize that they don't need to run because they're a lot bigger? The smaller animals might be running from something that's dangerous because it's dangerous to smaller animals, and it might not actually be necessarily dangerous to them, but they might just run anyway because they don't really understand. But they might even see what's attacking things, and they might still run. Do they understand? That's how there's a lot of people that can watch my videos, and then they still ask me stupid questions, and it's like they're seeing my videos and they're seeing all of it, and they're just not understanding. I'm gonna have to do 2 videos on this because it's quite long.